Okay, this little video here is on frame styles. So it's most common for us that we are trying to help people choose between the Z frame and the L frame. Those are our most common frames. And so what happens is with a shutter, we get our shutter and we install a frame, and then the shutter is put inside the frame. So the frame's put inside the window, and that's screwed to the window, and then our shutters are installed inside the frame. Now, our main two types, as I said, for typical windows, non-villa, so a villa is really kind of like our standalone or really short depth window frames, is the L frame and the Z frame. Now, as an installer or someone who's just like constantly putting them in, Z frame is my favourite because it kind of does what I call it covers a myriad of sins. So we hit a lot of windows that aren't square. And so when we go to install with the Z frame, what happens is that it sits over top of, if you can just imagine this being your architrave around your window, it sits over top of your architrave so that it covers gaps. Sometimes what you've got is a little bit of complexity, and so you might just not have square, or there might be some different things, and so the Z frame a little bit smoother, a little bit overcome. So what we tend to see is if I take one of the windows here and we say that this is your architrave, then the Z frame sits over front. It also allows your shutter, so that it sits on the front here, and it also allows your shutter to be able to do a more than 180 degree swing open. What happens with the Z frame, if I take, the L frame, that's the Z frame. If I take the L frame, typically you've got a window frame, and we're sitting inside of it. You've got your window sill in here, or your window frame. So your frame goes inside. Now you can take this further back inside your windows if you want. But what we do have is we'll fill outside with silicone. We're normally making to try and sit that in. And so if there's any gaps or anything like that, then we'll just be filling that in with silicone around your window jamb. No problems whatsoever with that. We make that look really seamless. However, sometimes it's just worth noting that if you've got non-square windows or anything like that, it is better to go for the Z frame. Again, as somebody who's installing them all the time, we tend to find them looking a lot cleaner. You do have a lot of situations where there's a villa, and what happens with the villa is that we have problems with the depth of the sash windows, and so we've got to have a depth behind the windows of about 30 to 40 mils. So we often actually have to pack out using a packed out L frame to be able to go around the window, and that actually sits on the front of the sill, and the shutter comes right over top of it. So that's the three main types: the Z frame, L frame, and a packed out. Z frame's a little bit cleaner, allows a full 180 degree swing and overcomes any problems. L frames are good if you've got a new modern place and you want to get, or you've got deep reveals and you want to go back into the reveal, then you can do that more with the Z frame or with an L frame. And with a villa, we can either pack out the Z frame so that it gives a nice look there and go a minimum depth off, or we pack on the outside, and you can just sort of see there's a little bit of detail going on in the packed out L frame that sometimes can detract from the overall look.